was caught up. Fingers crossed the live stream is of good quality, both with the audio and the visual. You never know with YouTube and Vodafone especially. Slightly different camera angle today because I couldn't get the digger in the garage otherwise. Now, just refresh that. Bum, ba-dum, bum, bum. There we go, look. Fantastic. Let's see what we've got. Bum, 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 bum. Roger Heaps is the first one in the workshop this morning. Good morning, Roger. Now, Roger did get a sneak peek on the new addition to the gardening implements that I picked up on Friday. I'm very pleased I took the big trailer. It's a little bit bigger than what I thought it was going to be. But that's okay, because that means I can dig bigger holes, which is excellent. Right, bear with me, people. Roger says, good morning, Andy and all. Very shiny new toy. Oops, I mean tool. Yeah, I'd stick with the first one, actually. I've got to complain with Mrs. Mechanic. It really is just a toy, isn't it? Something that I can do stuff with. Yes, I've got a line of jobs to do over the next couple of years, probably around the property. I say property, the estate. It's tiny, honestly. It's the digger is massive overkill for the size of garden that we have, but I want to get a shed put up down the bottom. I've got a deck to build down here, which involves some kind of landscaping. I'm sure I can find some kind of excuse for having the digger. We've got a lot of bamboo to dig out. We've got some more concreting to do, so there's some digging out of that. I've got a carport to do on this side of the workshop, which is again going to involve preparing the ground for some concrete for the concrete pad, and there's all sorts of stuff. And I want to get a set of forks for the front so I can unload pallets off the trailer, because a lot of the stuff that some of the stuff that I get is on pallets, and I can start to use pallets a bit more, which will be great. It'll save my back and make things a bit quicker. That's my excuse in a nutshell. Oh no, hang on. We're on. And if you buy a new digger, you get a free cap. How cool is that? I did get a few other bits and pieces as well. Thank you very much, Mark. We'll get more onto that in a minute, but we're going to cover the comments. Mike Bazanski. He done drank the orange Kool-Aid. Absolutely, Mike. I hope you enjoyed your bike ride. Mike's been away for a few days, enjoying himself. Connor K. Oh, message retracted. Sorry, Connor. Pete. Hi, Andy and crew from California, USA. It's been very hot here, like 40.5 degrees C. That's ridiculous. Anyway, good morning, Connor. Welcome back to the workshop, matey. It's good to have you on board. And Pete, thank you for your comment. Simon Rawls. Simon, good morning, matey. Yeah, confession to make. I can class it as a tool. I bought a new tool. It's not so much for the workshop, although the workshop will be supporting it, and no doubt there'll be some videos in the future, including said digger. It's a Kubota, if you didn't guess, hence the cap. Doing oil changes and generally just looking after it, basically. That's the plan. Oh, I get a free trial with YouTube Premium. Thank you very much. Skip the trial. Right. Simon says, just a quick pop in to say hi as I'm out tonight. Oh, mate, you're out on the town again. Well, have fun, Simon, and no doubt we'll catch up next Sunday. Connor K, new machinery. Hell yes. Yeah, I went up. I did a couple of dealer visits on Friday, and of course, one of them was, I tied in for collecting the tractor because that came from one of the dealers. They sell Kubotas as well as the brand of motorcycle I support. Very, very helpful chap is Mark. In fact, Mark, I did spot his card in here. There's his card, look. This isn't a plug, he's just a great guy. Central Motors up at Nartia. That's how you pronounce it, Nartia. There you are. It's even focused for you. Bloody good. So, yeah, very helpful guy. He's pulled a lot of strings to get this thing, this implement for the GAN extremely quickly, to be honest. There's massive delays here in New Zealand now on new vehicle stock. Whether it's a tractor, whether it's an ROV, whether it's a car, everything basically across the board, motorcycles, the lot, everything is in tremendously short supply. And this wasn't an easy machine to put together. Obviously, we'll have a good look around it, but it's got a bucket on the front, 4-in-1 bucket, and it's got the backhoe as well. So basically for me, just, I suppose it's like using the word sellotape, isn't it? It's a bit like a mini JCB. That's basically what it is. I remember as a kid, when my parents built their own house, beautiful stone house it was, took 2 or 3 years to build. They had a JCB on the land, and as a little kid I watched this JCB doing its job, and I suppose ever since then I've always wanted one. I used to have a little Kramer Alrad 312 SE loading shovel back in England, and I think it was an international drop that we had as well, which had that actually had a 4-in-1 bucket on it, which was pretty cool. So I wouldn't say it's been a lifelong dream to get something like this in New Zealand, but it sort of, the opportunity came along, the requirement-ish sort of came along. Yeah, I'm getting older, don't want to be using a shovel all the time now. My time is precious, and I can have a lot more fun using this kind of machinery. Mrs. Mechanic said to me, hey, why didn't you just hire one? Well, that's just burning money. I'd much rather buy something, keep it for a few years, look after it, keep it in good nick, do all the jobs I need to do, and then it becomes an asset. At some point, if need be, I can sell it and get something else. Who knows what yet? We'll find out. So, Ryder, good morning, Andy, Iowa, USA. Good morning, Ryder. Welcome aboard to the Andy Mechanic YouTube channel. 404 not found. That's a great name. Good day from across the pond, CA. Good job, mate. Got a thumbs up and a fist pump. Jim Haynes, no races, though this week I'm here, and yes, the free hat made it worth it. It's actually really cool. Mrs. Mechanic wore it yesterday because she was wondering, not yesterday, sorry, on Friday afternoon, because it was quite sunny. I said, oh, you can borrow my new hat. And she goes, okay. It didn't get me off buying a digger, though. It didn't. Al Elish. Hi, Andy, I'm back. Al, great to have you back, matey. Good job. Welcome back to the workshop. Although there's not a lot of space in here at the moment. I wasn't too sure if it would even fit in here this morning. I had to drop down the rollover bar and put the backhoe down just to clear the doorway, but I'm pleased it does fit in. Not that it's going to live in here, unfortunately. There's way too many motorbikes for this workshop. Jim K, the digger. Yes, Jim, the digger has turned up and I'm over the moon. I mean, when I took it off the trailer, in fact, just reeling back the story because I'm jumping around a bit. When we loaded it onto the trailer, Matt, the service manager there, real nice guy, get on with him very well, does a lot of riding. I said, I put the ramps down and I looked at these aluminium ramps and then looked at the size of the digger. The digger actually was physically, it's a lot bigger than what it looked in the photos. And I'm like, okay. Tell you what, Matt, you drive it up the ramps and I'll watch the ramps and see what happens, because these ramps don't have a load rating on them. The other ones for the little trailer, which is ironic because they came off a massive trailer in England, have 3.5 tons stamped on them. They're a pressed steel ramp. These are only aluminium on the big trailer, which is easier for use. They're a lot lighter. But I was looking at them going, man, I'm not too sure if they're going to be up to the job or not. But as he drove up gingerly, front wheels went up fine. And of course, most of the weight on this implement is at the rear. And as the rear tires start to go up the ramps, the trailer just sinks down, the back of the ute goes up, and I'm like, I've been here before. This is never a good sign. And I could hear the ramps creaking as he's crawling his way up, and I'm like, yep, keep going. And he just got onto the trailer, everything leveled out, and it was just fine. And it was exactly the same unloading it at this end as well. I was extremely cautious. I mean, to be fair, it couldn't have gone too far because the backhoe would have hit the ground, but still, the last thing you want to do is break your ramps. So whilst loading, Mrs. Mechanic was having a wander around Nartia with Team Marmite. So she didn't see the digger until I pulled out and was driving down the road to go and get some fuel for it. And when it's on the trailer, and the trailer is 5.4 meter length bed, and the bucket of the digger was right up at the front against the angle iron lip of the deck, just for security. It was obviously all strapped on and everything. But the backhoe was near as damn it at the back of the trailer. There was hardly any spare trailer at all. If I'd taken the little trailer, it would have just been, well, overwhelmed by the size and specifically the length. It's not over wide, it's just very, very long. So when you're maneuvering it around, you've got to be pretty damn careful you don't swipe something with the backhoe, especially the neighbour's fence, which was extremely close this morning. Otis, good morning, Otis. I hope it's got a cup holder and a place for a beer cooler. I'm not sure about the beer cooler, but I'm pretty sure it's got a cup holder. Mrs. Mechanic found that, and a sandwich box as well. So we'll have a good wander around the new addition very shortly. Probably while the pie's cooking. Actually, we've got to go and put the pie in, haven't we? Oh my word. Ad lupus umbra. Oh, hi Andy. Wow, an orange off-roader. Always good value to have fun to use too. Yes, that's my plan. I'm going to have a lot of fun with it. We've got a lot of brash down the garden to clear as well, so it'll make mincemeat of that, I'm sure. And the fence line, there's like a hedge that runs down the right-hand side fence line. It's real spiky, thorny stuff. And it cuts Mrs. Mechanic's hands to pieces. Even though she's wearing gloves, the thorns still get in, and it's no fun. So we can just destroy all of that with the new toy. It'll be a great feeling, to be honest. Now then, 404 not found. Bought some new impact wrenches, rigid, at Home Depot. You guys have those tools there? Rigid. I don't know, actually. It's not something that I buy. So have a little look, see if we get rigid over here. Rigid power tools. Tools New Zealand, it comes up. I think we do, yes. Rigid. Rigid power tools are designed with one purpose: maximum uptime. Get peace of mind by registering eligible tools to take advantage of the industry's something or other. Let's have a look. I know you can't see it the screen, but you can Google it yourself, can't you? Rigid. Oh, look at those. Hey, there's quite an array of stuff, actually. Little bore scope, pipe wrenches, pipe cutters. Cool. Hey, good job, matey. Good job. Looks pretty good quality gear as well. Either that or the camera person did a fantastic job. Now then, yes, so we do have them here, 404. David Walker, good morning, Andy and crew. Love the new hat. Well, thank you very much. It's very comfy, I must admit. It's going to get worn a lot when I'm diggering. I won't wear it in the workshop because it'll get all covered in oil and grease and stuff, and I have lots and lots of 10 tools caps for that. KR Moto, see you got your hands on a tractor, huh? I did. I do like tractors and stuff, and this is obviously, it's got 4-wheel drive, and I've just left it in 4-wheel drive for now. I don't see any reason why I need 2-wheel drive when you've got 4-wheel drive. It just helps to cultivate the garden better. Right, now the pie for this morning is, and I haven't seen these before, Mrs. Mechanic spotted them in the supermarket. I think you pronounce it Maketu, or Maketu. Maketu pies, steak and cheese, 200 gram. It is a pie. Let's go to the pie warmer thing and do what we need to do. Get it warmed up. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Right. And following the pie, we're going to have a little wander around the digger. Now, you've got to bear in mind as well that I'm not really a digger person or a tractor person or a farmer or anything like that. So hang on. We better take it out of the bag, eh? Oh, that was very, very New Zealandish. Right. Not Yorkshire at all. Right, okay, what's it look like? It looks like, oh, it's pretty big. Okay, there's no compromise to integrity at this point in time. So we'll pop them in there. We'll see how flammable the packaging is as well. Stick him in there, and we'll go for the obligatory 20 minutes. There we go, look. Right. It was in the, yes, it was in the freezer yesterday, so it was defrosting last night. Okay, so this is what you've been waiting for. The digger. I'll hold it nice and still for you. Look at that. What a beauty. 4-in-1 bucket at the front. That was something I really had to get because the loading shovel that I had didn't have a 4-in-1 bucket, and I really, really wanted a 4-in-1 bucket. Now, those of you that work at Osh, I'm going to step underneath the boom. Sorry, and it hasn't got a bit of bar behind it, but there you go, look. Okay, it's just a bucket. I know, but you know, it's a brand new bucket, so you get excited by brand new stuff. So I am pretty impressed with it. Right, we're going to go underneath. Oh yeah, front view, front view. I went for the commercial spec tyres because I felt that they were best for my application. Didn't want to chew the garden up too much, but still need a bit of traction. Oh, yeah, power steering, obviously, you know. And this is all the 4-in-1 bucket. Rams is one either side. It's not a quick release bucket though. I almost went for quick release bucket, but that would have got really complicated. And there's far too many levers and spool valves and stuff on this thing at the moment. Hey, that's a good shot. Look at that. What a machine. I should take photos for Kubota, shouldn't I? So at the moment, I've played with it a bit. I know some of the stuff. This is the go faster lever. Makes the engine rev higher. I know, Roger, you're going to laugh your head off at this. This is for the front loader. And up and down, obviously bucket down is forwards, bucket up is backwards from memory. And this little button here, you press that and it goes green. And then this is for your 4-in-1 bucket. This actually opens the jaws and splits the bucket. And it's got some nice little teeth in there as well. Don't put your fingers in, Andy, just in case it drops. But there you go. Pretty cool. What else is there? I have no idea what this does yet. Hang on, let's have a look. No idea what that does. Not tried that. This is your 4-wheel drive, 2-wheel drive. So 4-wheel drive at the moment. 2-wheel drive, probably never. Now, coming around this side, it's got a horn. I'll turn the ignition on. There you go, look. Mr. Horn works. Now, we've also got... I got it so it was in road legal spec. So we've got, you know, indicators and lights and hazard lights and all that kind of stuff, which is pretty cool. It is going to get a number plate put on it, just in case it is that. Well, we will be going to go and get a Pie at some point in the digger, once I'm a bit more familiar with it. Can I get around? I can't even get around that side. It's just too long. Look, it goes right up to the garage door. I had to lower the hoe down, the backhoe down to get it into the garage because it was just too high. And of course, I had to drop the roll bar as well. So, not planning on rolling it over at the moment. It's obviously got the stabilizers, you know, for proper digging at the back, so it doesn't sway around too much. Pretty cool. And this is your little, this is your control. Oh, the seat. So I'm jumping around here. The seat does swivel around, obviously, and then you can use the rear controls. And this one does the arm up and down. That's the only one I've used so far, I think, from memory. No idea what the little ones do. Not tried those yet. And obviously the other lever will do the second ram, which is your bucket. Basically moves your bucket around. There is, I'm told, technical term now, a thumb to turn up, which goes into this this mount here, and it allows you to grab things with the bucket. Basically, it gives you a static bar that it clips against, so you can grab logs and things like that, which is pretty cool. There you go. There's central motors. Stickers all over the place. It's a good job. Very good marketing. Right, and of course you've got safety locks and stuff for when the vehicle's in transport, which it's currently in. I did put the safety lock back on. You've got one to stop the boom dropping down, and then you've got another one here to stop the boom moving side to side. So I've left those in for now because, again, I'm not really using... Well, obviously I'll have to undo that one to get it back out the garage, you know. Right, back around this side. I'm sure there'll be many, many comments. Oh, right, what have we got this side? Well, we've got a thing here. I'm not too sure what this is yet. Not worked that one out, but I'm sure I'll find that out. Be in the instructions somewhere. There's warning labels all over the place. Look at this. It'll take half a day just to read those. Now, it has got split brakes. And obviously it's got a little linking bar, and you tend to leave the linking bar in most of the time. I had split brakes in my Kramer as well. But again, I just left them joined together. Don't know what that is. No idea. That's the handbrake. And to activate, we'll get you a better shot of that. There you go, look. That's the handbrake. Now, to activate the handbrake, you push really hard on the brakes, and then you just push that down, and it locks the handbrake on. And also, you need to release the handbrake before you set off. Otherwise, it makes a really weird noise. Never a good idea. Now, don't know what that is. Just spotted that. No idea what that is either. And it's got something here as well. I don't know what that is either, actually. It goes under the seat some way. See that bar there, look? Don't know what that does. We've got something here. Normal gears, right? So we're in low at the moment around the garden. It's got obviously M, which might stand for medium, neutral, and of course high. So it's got 3 ratios. But I don't know what that yellow lever is. What's this do? Tractor people. PTO? Yes, that looks like a PTO sign. That could be PTO for the rear. Oh, another warning label, look. Important. I'll read that later on. Right, cup holders. Yes, full of rags at the moment. There's your cup holder. We have a cup holder. And it's got another little thing there. And it's got a little charging outlet for your phone. Pretty cool. And the sandwich box. Look at this. A genuine Kubota sandwich box. Mrs. Mechanic found this the other day. Look at that. Oh, it's got stuff in it. It's got pins and things. Excellent. I feel a little bit like Jeremy Clarkson because he had no idea what a tractor was either and how to operate one. So we're sort of in a learning curve together. It's got the little mini 3-point linkage, I think you call that. And again, more warning signs. And of course, it's got all the lights on it and things. And the seat is a bouncy seat, which is pretty cool. And you can height adjust it. It's on like I don't know, what do you call that? Some kind of not cantilever, but, A system. What else? Oh, it's got a seat belt. Wow, it's got a seat belt. Didn't know that. It's got a seat belt. Cool. And then, coming around here, just the backhoe. We've got more don't do's. Don't put your foot under something. It's going to hurt. We've got instructions. Look at that. I never saw those. We've got more stickers of what each lever does. That's pretty cool. Those middle 2 levers are for your stabilizer legs, left and right. That's what they do. Cool. Okay, we're slowly learning. What else have we got? Oh, more warning labels. Yes, don't trap yourself. Yes, that'd be a good idea. Or other people, in fact, because you'll be in the driver's seat. And it's got some pretty nice little teeth on there. Look at that. So that'll definitely chomp its way through stuff. So, in a nutshell, I think I've covered most of it. More warning labels. More warning labels. Oh my word. And obviously you can take the backhoe off. It's only, pinned onto the mount at the back of the digger. Or the tractor unit, should I say. So, yeah, I think we've covered pretty much everything. Seat adjustable, both forwards and backwards. And it's got this thing here as well. I think that stops it bouncing. Not sure. I'll work that out. But yeah. Oh, more warning labels. Very, very happy with it though. And it's nice and shiny and new, and it means I can look after it and treasure it. And it'll live under the carport eventually. But at the moment there's ROVs under there again. So it's going to have to live outside because it can't live in the garage because the garage gets full of motorcycles. Oh, look, and there's Holly's DR200. I did some work on that last weekend. I have done some videos, but not had time to edit them up yet. Right, well, we'll go back. You might have a few questions about said digger, and we can talk about those. If I can try, I'll try and answer them. Who knows? There we go, look. Right. What have we got? We've got about another 10 minutes for pie. Is that going to work? That's going to work nicely, isn't it? Just twizzle it around a little bit. There we go. Right, comments. Back to the comments. Hang on. Ooh, somebody wants me to start the tractor. Okay, I can do that. Jim, yes. Okay, we can go and start the tractor. Remind me in a minute. We'll just get caught up with the comments and we'll go and do that and then we'll get the pie. Pete, Mrs. Mechanic, got for you got to be a 10 for the counter girl. Yes, she got me the pie, so that's definitely a 10 for the counter girl. Pete, very, very nice tractor. Big thumbs up. Thanks, Pete. You know, as with any big purchase, and this is a massive purchase for me, it's always a bit, you know, you think, you know, can I afford it? Should I spend the money? Should I just go and buy a second-hand one? Should I rent one? I don't like buying, well, apart from bikes, I always buy lots and lots of bikes second-hand. Although I have bought the odd new one, little TW200, WR450F. You know, there's a few new ones kicking around, but and in England I only ever used to buy new because I like to know what I was getting and not buying problems. But this was a massive investment for me, and it's on the drip. You know, I'm paying it off by the month, and you never quite know what's further down the line. But at the end of the day, you know, if things go awry and income drops, then it can always be sold, and you know there will be some asset value, some residual value once the loan's paid off. Hopefully, as long as it's not too soon. So, you know, I think it's a great venture. It's going to allow us to do a lot of stuff in the garden. It's going to be super reliable. It shouldn't cause us any problems at all. It's going to be turnkey. You go to it, it does its job, you park it up. Simple as that. And that's what I like. I don't have time to be, you know, you waste so much time sometimes when you go to old machinery and you come to use it and it doesn't work properly. It blows a hose, whatever, and all of a sudden your plans change for that day and you just can't get done what you want. And my time at home is very limited, as many of you know. I'm always on the road. I'm away all of next week. I've got the following week at home, and then I'm away in the South Island for 3 weeks, almost 3 weeks. So you know, it's nice when I'm at home to be able to do what I need to do in the allotted time, and not have to mess around. Now then. 404, that's one nice machine. Thank you, 404. Ryder, congrats, Andy. It's very, very nice. It's very clean and shiny and orange at the moment. 404, I used to haul Kubota tractors to the dealerships. Wow. Was that in New Zealand? Are you in New Zealand, 404? Where are you? Good job there. Roger, normally, here we go. Normally with tractors, front wheels drive about 5% faster. I didn't know that. Check the specs on yours in case it loads driveline on hard surfaces. Very good point. Obviously, we don't want to get wind up. A little story about the Kramer. I was in the forest and we had a corporate day the next day. And I was on my own. I had the Unimog there and I had the Kramer and I was loading up white chalk stone to go and do some repairs on some of the tracks. And I was rushing and it was my own fault. There seemed to be some resistance to drive. Wasn't too sure what it was, but I did notice that the brake pedal was a much more firm than it normally was. And I ignored it. I just kept using the machine and it got worse and worse and worse to the point where it would hardly drive forwards. And then there was a massive bang and it blew the front diff apart. And I was like, oh, odd. That's not ideal. I've got stone to put in tracks. So obviously everything came to a complete halt, couldn't use the machine anymore. And I was very, very fortunate to be able to pick up a replacement front axle complete. Obviously it had a good diff in it, had all the brakes and everything. And the primary fail, for some unknown reason, and I hadn't adjusted the brakes ever, the brakes had started to bind on the front wheels. And that was what was causing the resistance, and it just overloaded the diff. Yeah, so I make mistakes. I was just trying to get the job done, and I've done that before. I remember with the Supercat, when I was driving that, I hit a rut a bit too hard, blew a kingpin, and it runs on Land Rover kingpins. Blew a kingpin, which is a common issue with them if you hit something too hard on the front axle. And it destroyed the drive shaft, the actual little half shaft, which was a special part to Supercat. Cost a fortune for a new one, and that was my fault. If I'd just stopped at that point, I could have just replaced the kingpin and everything would have been fine. And the same thing with the Kramer. If I'd just stopped and maybe even just backed off the brakes, taken a look, done some work, maybe a half a day lost, I wouldn't have had to spend all that money on a replacement front axle. And like I say, I was very fortunate to get one. There aren't that many Kramer 312 SEs in the UK. In fact, there's one less now because mine went to Africa, I think. So thanks for that, Roger. Appreciate that. Button on the floor, probably diff lock. Oh, it's got a diff lock. Excellent. I like that idea. Mike Byzanski, what kind of maintenance interval? Well, the first service, and I'm pretty rigorous on my servicing. If anything, I'll get over serviced. We have the warranty booklet here. Look at that. It says for Earth, for life, Kubota. And you can actually get, I was told yesterday, you can even get a powertrain extended warranty, but I think that's more for high use. It's not going to get many hours put on it, to be honest. Can't show you all the pages, got my address on there. But as regards servicing, I know the first service is at 50 hours, but I have no idea what it is after that. So we'll see if there's a service schedule in here. Just bear with me. Warranty schedule. Okay. Oh, warranties. Power equipment. No, that's not a schedule for servicing. Be there somewhere. Hang on, tractors, factory warranty. So it comes with 2 years warranty, or 1,500 hours, I think it is. Yes, 2 years, 1,500 hours, basic cover. Oh, here we are. Look, servicing stuff. Sorry, I'm looking down, but I have to try and read at the same time. I've not been in this yet. No, that doesn't say when it's due. Mark will be watching this, no doubt. He'll be laughing his head off. It's on page 76. No, it's not in there. I'll have to ask Mark. It's got the places in the book for your stamps and everything when you get your servicing done, which is important. You have good service history. Obviously I should know that. But it doesn't tell me how often it needs to be serviced. First service at 50, probably every 100 hours, 150 hours, 200, I don't know. I'll have to ask. Yes, and that's all the stuff that's covered. I'm not going to go through it all, but it's pretty comprehensive. And I went for a Kubota for 2 reasons. One is within the network of motorcycle shops that I deal with, this one is also a Kubota agent, so Mark did me a fantastic price on it. But also, I do like Kubota. I believe that they're a good, solid brand, well made, and of high quality. Yes, maybe they're a bit more money than some tractors out there, but you get what you pay for at the end of the day, don't you? Oh, something's going on the screen. Bear with me. Now then. Right. So sorry, Mike. I can't answer that at this point in time, but I'm sure I'll be able to get hold of Mark on Monday and ask him. Jim, that bracket on the left should be to put on cylinder to safely up when working under the front bucket, and pedal should be full throttle. Pedal should be full throttle. I haven't dared go for full throttle yet. Okay, I'll check that out. Oh, doing stupid things again. Right, thanks for that, Jim. I'll give it a go in the garden later on. Michael D, hey Andy, big fist pump. Morning, Michael. Jim Haynes, that one lever should be to raise and lower 3-point hitch arms. Okay, copy that. Tom James, nice new toy. Here we go. Ian Edwards, how big is your property if you need a digger? It's way too big for my property, but when I unloaded it from the trailer yesterday, the neighbour sort of popped over the fence, as they do. He says, I see you've bought a new toy. And I'm like, I couldn't deny it, could I? I mean, it's orange and it's massive. And I said, yes. He says, what are you going to do with it? And I said, I'm going to dig holes. And he says, you're obviously probing a little bit, what are you, obviously you've got a project in mind. I says, I'm planning to put a big shed up down the bottom of the garden, which I am at some point. I need the storage space, and then of course the digger can live in there and it'll all be very happy, nice and warm, and it'll keep it out of the rain. When that's going to happen, I don't know, but now I've got the digger, it should happen sooner rather than later. But he seemed very impressed, and he has a little lad. And I thought, I'm sure once we start using the digger around the property, the little lads can be stood by the fence watching me for hours, make a complete mess of digging holes and stuff. But it should be fun, and I'm sure it'll be a good conversation piece with the neighbours over a coffee. Now then, John Nuttall. John, welcome to the workshop. Well crew. Oh, that's it. All stopped. Holly's bike, Ben's lathe, Allen CB750, the go-kart, which hasn't even started. Oh, there's the ping. The roof work, Andy's out the back digging with a pie in hand, or on the WC reading the Kubota Bible. Lol. Yes, I did refrain. It took a lot of willpower yesterday. I've got ROVs that have got deadlines to be serviced. I've got 2 here at the moment. We did a fair bit yesterday on them. I actually must have slept badly and got a really bad back yesterday morning. It's just as bad this morning. So I sort of was pottering around the workshop at half speed yesterday. Mrs. Mechanic helped me tremendously again. She got all the calipers reconditioned for me. I cleaned them all out. Very, very helpful. She's got a CVT drive primary sheave to do this morning. So yeah, she's a real trooper. She comes in and helps me out. And I was in a lot of pain last night. You know, I lied down on the sofa, watched Lockdown, Amazon Prime, obviously the grand tour with Mr. Clarkson and his friends. Thoroughly enjoyed that. Got up to go and get a drink, and that was it. Instant pain, 10 times worse than what it was during the day. I do find if I keep moving around, it sort of goes away a little bit. But if I stop for a while, man, it really hurts. Normally takes 3 or 4 days to clear. So, you know, I'll be driving most of tomorrow, so it won't be too bad. But, you know, it is what it is. It'll get better. Should never have lifted engines out of 4-wheel drives without engine hoist. Doesn't do your back any good. Now then. Right. So, yes, you're absolutely right, John. If the temptation is there to spend all day just driving the digger and doing stuff, but I have to stay focused. It's those jobs that help pay for this kind of stuff. And believe me, there's going to be a lot of jobs to pay for that digger. Guy Martin is in the workshop. Now, there's a good segue. Guy, I believe, holds the land speed record for the fastest tractor, which was done in a modified JCB Fast Track. Isn't that right, Guy? I don't remember what speed he got up to, so maybe Guy could tell us. How fast did he get up to, Guy? On your super fast JCB. Hey, Andy, I'm home from filming in Antarctica. Man, you were up there a long time for the BBC, but I cannot tell anyone what I was up to. But it's fast and was fun and was very, very cold. Nice tractor, by the way. Well, thank you, Guy. I appreciate that. I know you've got a bit of a soft spot for machinery, as most mechanics tend to have. I'm very much looking forward to learning my way around it. I had tremendous fun learning my way around the Unimog that I had in the UK. That was a massively complicated machine. Lots of spool valves, it had a 3-way tipper on the back. We had a hydraulic winch on the front, we had a big electric winch on the rear. All those portal axles, you know, it was just a phenomenal machine. Really enjoyed it, and I will get another one day. That would definitely complement the digger, you see, then, because then I could load the back of the Unimog and then drive the mog down to the tip. I mean, they might grumble a bit, but it's still, you know, it's no longer than a normal ute, so we'll see. They might charge me double, but at least I can just, you know, use the hydraulic tipper to tip out the 5 tons of garden rubbish at a time. Now then, hang on, I'm catching up. KR Moto, damn, don't hit your head on the bucket. No, I've got to be very careful. It won't be the first time, though. KR Moto, it is the tilt steering wheel, maybe. Oh, it could be. I'm not sure. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it's got a tilt steering wheel. We'll have to have a look. John Dwyer. Hey, Andy, nice Kubota tractor. Looks very expensive. Well, I can't give the price out that I paid because I did get a massive discount on it. Thank you, Mark, again. You know, you got to look after those that are around you for sure. And Mark is definitely someone that does that for sure. He's proved that. Yes, very expensive. Got lots of workshop jobs to do over the next 4 years now. That's what I'm paying it over, a 4-year period. Not planning on any kind of contracting work. It's just for our own use. So that's it. There's, you know, I mean, I'm pretty confident once word gets around the village, there'll be neighbours saying, hey, can you just come and dig a hole for us? Maybe. Probably not, but maybe, you know, cash in hand, I suppose. But we'll see. I'm not that proficient at driving it at the moment. I'll probably take out half the house just going down the driveway. So it'll be much further down the line if I decide to do that kind of stuff. Now then. Oh God. Ad lupus umbra. Lol. Just remembered my uncle using the bucket attachment to lift motorcycles up so he could work on them. So frowned on these days. It is. I mean, a lot of the dealerships still use forklifts to with a sling to lift the front of the motorcycle to put the front wheel in and stuff like that. You know, when they're decrating them. I don't see a problem with that as long as the sling's rated and you're not working directly, which you would be, I suppose, under the bike. But they do that. It's one of the things that they do in New Zealand. Yes, if Osh was around, they'd probably get told off for it. Kayamoto, Guy, how about a test ride on the newly modified GS 1100E? Good question. Now then, Roger Heaps, 250 hours is normal service interval. Oh, thanks, Roger. That's probably about once every 10 years for me then with that thing. Would imagine you'll have to do it time service, like annual, as doubt you would put in the hours on it. Yes, absolutely. It's definitely going to get over service for sure. Oh, hang on. We jumped around a bit. Thank you, Roger. Appreciate that. Jim Haynes, rephrased pedal on left instead of using the hand throttle. It should be a foot throttle and not full to give you fuel, to give it fuel throttle. Oh, okay. I'll have a look at that. Guy Martin, 147 miles an hour in a tractor. Mate, rather you than me. Honestly, when I'm potting around the garden, I'm doing about 1 mile an hour, and it's fast enough for me at the moment. I'm having to negotiate lots of motorcycles, fences. We've only got one. The garden has got a bit of what's left of a retaining wall, and on the far left against the fence line, there's enough. It's sort of collapsed enough to be able to drive over, and it's becoming more of a ramp, but it's a bit cockly. So, and of course, you've got to turn a bit as you go on it. And I was watching the back cars, I was doing that, and it was close, put it that way. So probably the retaining wall is one of the first things for me to do, because I need to grade off and level the top half of the garden where the shed's going to go. So there's probably going to be 2 retaining walls going, one to replace the current one, and then one further up to allow me to level that part of right at the back of the garden where we're going to put up a nice big storage shed at some point, but I can afford it. But 147 miles an hour is ridiculous. Roger Heaps, Guy Martin, oh my God, cannot imagine how scary that was. I mean, they must have had specially rated tyres and all sorts of stuff on it. But what a machine, that 147 miles an hour. I think I could take some beating. Right, my pie is ready. Let's go and grab the pie. Here we go. I say it's ready. It's had 20 minutes. It should be ready. Didn't catch fire, which is nice. Cool. Keep the rats out. Right. Let's go have a look. Oh, while I'm just going to leave that for a minute because Jim wants me to start the engine on the tractor. So bear with me. Right. Handbrake is on, so it shouldn't go flying through the through the shed. Yes, it is definitely a pivot steering because you can see here with the gator. So you could be right. One of those levers might be for the steering. Okay, so, the ignition key, by the way. I shouldn't show you this really, but I don't know if you can see that. I'll put it on the bonnet. Hang on, there we go. Look at that. That is one technical ignition key. And I was told, again, I shouldn't say this to you, but most of you are outside New Zealand. It's the same ignition key for every Kubota tractor. It's the same key. It's not the same key cut differently. It's actually the same key. Bizarre, I know. Should tell the insurance company. Right, so bringing you up. Let's see the dash. Ooh, look at that. It comes alive. Right, I might need to press the brake down now. So we go. Bloody good. And it's got indicators, look. Flashes. Lights. Pretty cool. Right. I'm going to turn it off. Right, I'm almost turn it off. Here you are, look. Engine. Under there somewhere. Right. Can't leave that on too long, can we? Jeez. What a machine! Proper piece of kit. Oh my word. Right. KR Motor. Hoping it hit around 160. Well, 147 is fast enough. Jim Haynes. On equipment, they are always the same key per different makes. Pie looks very pale. It does. It hasn't really burnt the crispy top off, has it? Ian Edwards, the sticker tells you service due 50 hours. It is. That's just the first service, though. It is. Right. Back to the camera. Everything's the wrong way around today because I wanted to get a shot of the digger in the background. Okay, so the pie. Let's see how we get on. I mean, it's had the standard 20 minutes cooking time, and it was ambient temperature when it came out, when I put it in. It is actually, you can see how soft the underside is. This could be a pie catastrophe in the making. There's a lot of squidgy, soft pie going on. It could turn out to be pretty runny, but the lid is actually well sealed, so it's got something going for it. It's not maybe as pasty as you think it is, actually. It's got a little bit of brown on it, and the underside is slightly brown too. Okay, well, we'll go in, see what happens. First taste. Wow, we've got a bit of heat there. It's good. The pastry is quite soft, though, I must admit. John Dwyer, diesel. It sure is a diesel, without a doubt. 3-cylinder, I believe, from memory. And no, it hasn't got a turbo on it. Roger. Not yet. That's not bad, actually. I mean, it's a bit squidgy. And I'd be very dubious. You can see how squidgy the top is, look. It's pretty, it's not as rigid as your Wild Bean Cafe ones, that's for sure. Actually, Wild Bean Cafe, while I'm munching my way through the pie, I was at the one in Tiru the other day, and in fact, it was on the way. It was Friday morning. We're on our way up to Natia. It was pretty early, and I'd ordered me coffee. Mrs. Mechanic was with me. Ordered me coffee. She got a little chicken phyllo pastry thing, and I had a standard go-to gourmet steak and cheese. And I was munching my way through it, and there was this chap stood in the line to my left, just waiting to pay for his fuel. There was quite a few people in the queue, and he was looking across. And I wasn't wearing this shirt, obviously. I was, wearing my work clothing. And he kept looking across, and I could see him out of the corner of my eye. I just sort of ignored him a little bit, and eventually he said, "At least it's not a Big Ben's pie." And I'm like, that's a strange comment to make. And then it all sort of fell into place. Click. I said, "You've been watching the live streams, haven't you?" And he said, yes. Big Ben pie, big thumbs down. I said, yep, you are correct. I wasn't a fan of the Big Ben pie. That's the bottom one on the list, or the leaderboard. And they said, "Oh, well, you've got your favourite pie this morning. You'll be all good." And he said, also, what else did he say? I said, "Oh, I've got a couple of that brand of motorcycle I've had those over the years. Great bikes. Really, really like them." I said, "Well, thank you very much." And and then he proceeded to go and pay for his fuel. But can't go anywhere. To be fair, it's not often I get recognised. I'm probably a bit more recognisable now than I used to be, because there's not many guys around with a ponytail. Not like mine, anyway. So Mrs. Mechanic keeps telling me. But it was nice to see a viewer and to meet somebody in the flesh. Having a YouTube channel is a bit weird because the vast majority of your interaction is basically in front of a camera and on comments. John Nuttall, next vid, fitting a tractor to my... Hang on. Oh, fitting a tracker to my Kubota. Yes, should be. Second video, making a wheel clamp for my Kubota. Third video, fitting a tilt sensor. Yeah, I don't want to bombard the channel with tractor stuff, to be fair, but I'm sure there will be the odd video. And it's very photogenic. It looks bloody awesome on the camera, doesn't it? It's doing okay. I mean, it hasn't fallen apart. I'm being very cautious. And it's what I would call this a two-hand pie, to be fair, because you've got to sort of manage the structure if you just went with the one hand, you were driving down the road and you hit a speed bump or something, I could see, you probably won't get this on the screen because of the refresh rate, but there's a bit of give in the pie, you know, you can feel the whole thing flex. Anyway, so we've got to score this thing, haven't we? We're almost halfway through, so let's get the lid taken off. Taste stroke flavor. It's not bad. Haven't come across any huge, oh, we've got a bit of a breakage on the lid there, look. We've got some pie oozing out, some contents, but even so, it's hanging in there. Taste flavour, I'm going to give it an 8, actually. It actually tastes pretty good. Probably most of it's, is it natural? Probably not. Probably a lot of it's additives and flavourings and things. Structure Foley partners, well, oh, somebody's out and about on a quad bike. Beep, beep, there we go. It's not so good, is it? We've got a huge dent now on the underside. You can see the contents starting to ooze out. Structure Foley partners. Oh my word, we've got a massive rupture now on the top. See that huge crack? That's real time, that is. A real time failure. Okay, I'm going to give it a 4. Sorry, but I am. I'm going to give it a 4. It might redeem itself later on. Runnability, well, that pretty much ties in with what we're seeing already. Let's do the 45-degree test. That's about 45 degrees there, look. To camera, Andy, to camera. What do you think? Trying to keep everything in focus. Well, it's hanging in there. It doesn't look great, does it? Oh, we've got movement. We've got movement. It's starting to... Oh, right, I'm going to save that. Okay, okay, it's not so good on the runnability. What do you reckon? 4 again? Let's give it a 4 for now. I mean, it hasn't exploded all over the place, but it is starting to collapse. The structure is failing big time now. We've got quite a significant failure in the center. Meat quality. No big chunks of meat. There's a lot of gravy content. There's not a lot of huge meat or any big chunks of meat. It would almost go down as a mince pie, really. We'll give it a 5 for meat quality. Pie to crust ratio. Well, there isn't a lot of crust, to be honest. There is a lot of contents. Although saying that, it looks like there's quite a lot of pastry on the picture because the lid is folded down. But the pastry is pretty thin, hence why it's all falling apart. I mean, you can just see here. Look, you see it's not doing too well, is it, people? To be honest, definitely not a drive pie. That's for sure. Pie to crust ratio. Pretty. Oh man, I'm struggling now. It's starting to break up on me. I'm going to go with. It's pretty good. A lot of contents compared to pastry. Let's give it an 8 on that. It's got to score somewhere decent, hasn't it? Right, availability of logistics, that we'll cover that in a minute. Pastry taste rating. Well, we've still got some pastry that's not going to be on the floor. Oh, what can I get? I'll get that bit there, look. Right, pastry only. It's pretty bland. In fact, it tastes quite... Holy crap, we've got the backs falling apart now. Look, we're getting cheese everywhere. Right, I'm going to have a good chomp for now. Hang on. It's definitely a pie. When we get to this point in the pie, I can no longer savor it and take my time to eat it. I'm having to really... If you were eating this normally, not doing a scoring like this, you'd really be panicking now about your pie about to break up and end up on the floor or down your shirt. So you'd trough it. You'd go for multiple chomps and just woof it down. It's not a good thing. Pies are there to be savoured. So, pastry taste rating wasn't great. I'm going to give that a 3. It was pretty doughy at the end. Right, packaging design. We can do that, hopefully. It's made of paper. The actual print, probably about 4 minutes on Photoshop, knocking that together. that's not fair, maybe 15. Distinctive, it'll stand out, you know, just red and white. I don't know if they change the colours for different flavours of pie, whether, you know, I don't know, chicken is blue, for example. But it is very basic. You can't see what you're buying. I think they're probably a little bit ashamed about what you're buying because you can't see it. There's no picture on the front of a nice juicy pie. So I don't know. It's not great. I'll give it a 4. What the hell? Let's give it a 4. I'm going to rush through this now because my pie is going to fall apart in a second. So 4 for packaging design. Now, recyclable score. It should do well out of this because it is, because it's paper, it is fully recyclable. So it gets a 10 for that. Okay. Post heartburn we can't do. I mean, look at the amount of debris that's falling off the cardboard. There's flakes everywhere. You wouldn't want to eat this in your car. Definitely not. Did you notice the double bite there? I had one bite and it started to collapse on me. I had to go for a second bite before I'd even swallowed the first one. It was pretty serious. Okay. We've stabilized the pie. It's hanging in there now. It's controllable, manageable. Okay. Pie server attractiveness, the last one. We've still got a few to fill in. Well, Mrs. Mechanic got me this. But we did get it at the supermarket. I was there when we got it. So I should have seen the attendant. I'm trying to think back to what she looked like. She was very helpful, very welcoming, packed the bag. I could opt for the 10 and just say Mrs. Mechanic bought it, but that's not the truth. The truth is, I was there and there was a counter attendant at the till. I think it was a bloke. How do I score that? Simon? How do I score a bloke? I'm stuck. 6. We need some kind of score. I'll put a 6. We'll just pretend it was a less. Right, what else have we got? We've got availability stroke logistics. Let's have a little scan for that. So obviously I've got it at a supermarket. So it's Maketu Pies. Right, there we are. Okay, do you want to watch this? I'm sure you do. I'll turn you around. Oh, look, it says I've got to update my bloody YouTube internet thing. It does that every now and again. I have no idea what the password is. Right, I've put the pie down. Okay, moving you forward a bit. Get rid of the ashtray. There we go. Okay. Our range. Okay, stockists. That's what we want. Stockists. Where can we get it from? Ah, look at that. So you can get them at Countdown. Available nationwide. Pack and Save selected stores. New World selected stores. Foursquare. There's plenty of them. Selected stores. Super Value. Never heard of them. And Fresh Choice, yes, I think I have seen a few of those around, but there's lots and lots of countdowns. Okay, also available in Australia on select, on the airplanes. Well, they're out on the airplanes, so that's no good. And Kiwi Shop at Packwood and Eagleby Shops, wherever the hell they are. Okay, but the fact is you can get them at Countdown, but we have a problem. And the problem being is the pie is cold when you get it. It's in the chiller section. It's not in a pie warmer, so you can't just go and buy the pie and eat it. So it sort of renders it more along the lines of a pie to eat at home, as opposed to an out on the road pie, which is sort of, I won't say it defeats the object, but it massively limits its attractiveness. So Availability. Yes, you can get it. Is it going to satisfy your needs straight away? No, it's not. 6. Let's give it a 6. I'm just not enthused by this pie at all. You can tell, can't you? Not easy to eat, to be honest. Still tasty when cold. It's cooling down. We'll save the last chomp for that one. Post pie heartburn. Don't feel too heartburny at the moment. We've had no burps and stuff. So let's be generous. Let's give it an 8. That might change. It might change. Who knows? Right. Okay, we've got left still tasty when cold and stuffability score. Well, I'm certain even at this point in time, before I've eaten the last bit, I don't want anything else to eat. This whether it's filled me up or not, or whether it's just like I've had enough of that flavour. Yeah, the pastry is quite gooey in places, almost like not cooked. But it was in for 20 minutes, and that should be enough. Stuffability score 7. I'm sort of picking numbers at the moment. It just doesn't. It's not telling me much. Still tasty when cold. Well, we'll find out. You know what's on my mind right now? It's over. Pie's gone. Back in the truck. Get driving. Hit the road. Let's get moving. That's the feeling would go through my mind if I was eating that in a petrol station. And thank God I haven't put any down my shirt. Dodged that bullet kind of sort of feeling. So, still tasty when cold. 4. Wasn't that great, to be honest. The doughy pastry when it's cold wasn't very nice. Okay, so is that all of them? I don't know. Just get rid of all the crumbs. Oh man, crumbs everywhere. Jeez. Right. Okay. So we've got, just to run through and check we've done them all. We've got taste flavour rating at 8. We've got structure for the partners at 4 because it was terrible. I'm going to give it a 3 actually. That was pants. One of the worst we've had actually. Runnability 4. Yeah, I'll leave that where it is. Meat quality, there was no big chunks of meat. It was just little tiny strands of meat in a lot of gravy. That's not good. I'm going to bring that down to a 4. We didn't get any big chunks of meat at all. Pie crust ratio was actually pretty good. There was lots of filling. Now then, so yeah, pie crust ratio got 8. Availability logistics got a 6, only because you can get them at Countdown. That was the only reason why they got that score. Which was a 6. Pastry taste rating was crap. It got 3. Still tasty when cold. Not really. 4. Packaging design, token gesture on the packaging. 4. Recyclable score 10, only because it's paper. Post heartburn, still feeling pretty good. No burps yet. No heartburn yet. 8. That might change. It might change later on when I'm back on the tools. Stuffability score. I don't want anything else to eat at the moment, but it didn't feel nourishing. It didn't feel. I'm not satisfied. It wasn't tasty. It was just warm food. 7. I can't give it any more than that. Pie serve attractiveness, well, bone of contention there. Pretty sure it was. I should have taken. Mrs. Mechanic might remind me. I'm pretty sure it was a guy. But hey, we live in that kind of world. I'll give him a 6. How's that? So I need to add these up. Here we go. Right. So I'll just run through them again. So you can add these up at home if you want as well. So 8, 3, 4, 4, 8, 6, 3, 4, 4, 10, 8, 7, and 6. If you can add them up that fast, you're better than I am. Right. So 11, 15, 19, 27, 33, 36, 40, 44, 54, 62, 69, 75. It got 75, which is actually not a bad score considering, really. Okay, let's fill out. Oh God, I nearly put it in the bits of pie that have fallen out. There's bloody bits of gravy and stuff all over the place. Hang on a second, I'll turn you round. Sorry, lathe, you're gonna have to wait for another day. Right, so this is a Maketu. And the U has a little line above it. Pie. And it's a steak and cheese. And we got 75, or it got 75, which I think is incredibly generous, given the pie, in all honesty. Okay, let's go and pop this on the wall of shame, in this case, and see where we end up. I know it's not the worst, oh, but it's not far off. Look, Big Ben was 64, and this one is the second to worst so far. Look at that. Not impressive at all. But I would say, actually, it was still better. Remembering back to how atrocious that pie was, it was better than that. So I think we've scored it actually pretty realistically. And it's sort of, you know, in the leaderboard, in the old big scheme of things, that's where it should be. Yeah, good job. We're getting there, aren't we? We've covered quite a few now. How many have we done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We've done 10 pies. Look at that. 10 pies across New Zealand. And there's lots more to go. And that's something that I've noticed, actually. Sorry for the really bad camera work. But the more pie, you know, I'm constantly on the lookout now for different kinds of pies around New Zealand. Look at that. I've got bits of pie in my moustache. What a mess. I'm a mess, people. Right, we'll get rid of that. Don't need that anymore until next week. Still got a few things to cover, actually. We're only, what, an hour and 7 minutes in, so we've still got a bit of time yet. I think it's time for a... In fact, Mrs. Mechanic, if you're watching Mrs. Mechanic, and she does watch my videos, my live streams on a regular basis, she just might bring me a fresh coffee, because this one is stone cold. I mean stone cold. What a morning. Right, back to the comments. Hang on a sec. I've got to rewind a bit. Jeez, so many comments. Right, done the John one with all the different videos. Ian Edwards, they are good pies, but they give me bad heartburn. Right, well, that's a really good point. That score might drop if that's the case. It will drop if that's the case, because I am susceptible to heartburn. I don't know why it is. I seem to get indigestion a lot more now. You know, stomach acid reflux, that whatever you want to call it. I seem to get that a lot more now than I used to do, but I've had it for a long time. I think it was stress related in the UK. But sometime I can go 2 or 3 weeks without any problems, and then every now and again it sort of flares up, and you're drinking the Gaviscon like it's beer. It's not good. But yeah, if it does, you know, cause a problem a bit further on this morning, then I'll pull that score down, because we've got to be honest about this. This is a very important survey that we're doing, and the results are critical. And if that pie doesn't deserve to be second from bottom, it deserves to be at the bottom, then maybe that's what will happen. Although, to be fair, even if I scored it 0 for heartburn, it's still gonna be better than Big Ben pie. Sorry, Big Ben pie, but see, it started already. I'll let you know. Hang on a minute. Tom James, not a driving pie. Absolutely not a driving pie. It really isn't a driving pie. There's no way I would inflict that on my vehicle. Pete, how does it taste? Well, we covered all the scores. It was all right. Roger, lots of tractors get stolen because of the same key. Not sure what on earth you do with a stolen tractor, but it happens a lot more than you'd expect. There is a high probability that we'll be replacing that ignition switch. I'm going to have a look. It might just be a 2-wire switch. If it is, there's many different switches I could put on there. But that's one thing that I'm going to have a little look at. And it might become a video because, you know, you don't want your tractor getting nicked. Something else I was considering doing as well is fitting a battery isolation switch. So you pop the bonnet, you know, put a switch under there, and then you've got the red key, like the rally car switches. I fit that those to a lot of my vehicles, and that also helps protect the wiring because, you know, on any vehicle, some wiring is always live, and that will corrode. You'll get the green crusties because it's always live. If you can kill all the electrics on the vehicle when it's parked up, and it's an extra level of security, why not do it? It's an easy thing to install, you know, a couple of hours work, maybe even be 3 hours. You've got a little bracket to make and stuff, but it can, you know, it can slow them down. It can make them think, why is it not starting? I'll go and pinch something else. You know, is that how the thieves talk? I don't know, but it seemed to be the you know, how I think that they talk, if they can talk at all. To be fair, maybe they just communicate with gestures. So thanks, Roger. You got me thinking now. Sport Junk 70. Just eat the blooming thing. I'm hungry. Sorry, mate. Tom James. If it tastes nice, it's pie, chips, and gravy pie. Needs to be on a plate. Yeah, I think that would probably greatly enhance it, to be fair. If it was, I mean, you've got to cook it. You've got to, you know, it doesn't come warm anyway. You've got to heat the thing up. With some chips with it, there was a lot. Yeah, like I said, there was a lot of gravy, so that would have worked really well. Good point. But again, you can't eat it in a petrol station like that. You can't, you know, go and get some, unless they sell chips. They don't usually do. Not here in New Zealand anyway. And yeah, you need a plate. And, you know, you want to be on the road. It's not a knife and fork. I don't want a knife and fork meal. I just want to be able to eat the pie out of the bag and get back on the road. Breakfast done. And feel satisfied that I've had a nice breakfast, even though it's a pie. Ad lups umbra. You don't score. Mrs. Mechanic has to do that scoring. Ah, good point. Hang on, there's somebody at the door. Bear with me. I'll flick you round. There we go, look. What have we got, honey? It was a pretty boy, and he was very young. So if you were scoring the guy, what were you giving him?
I think for the younger ladies, they'd probably give him a very high score, but 7 would be fine.
A 7 would be fine. Right. Okay. Thank you.
I think for like your last week's one.
Yeah, good slam. Right. Oh, okay. So there's Mrs. Mechanic has contributed. She's filled me in. She says it was a guy, so my memory serves me once this time around anyway. And well, she would have scored him a 7. I gave him, what did I give him? I gave him a 6. I'm going to leave it as it is. 1 point, I don't think it's going to make any difference. I was near enough. Not a bad call. Right. Now, right, so good call there. So Mrs. Mechanic gave him a 7. I'll have to make sure she doesn't go to that supermarket anymore. Right. Okay. John Dwyer, don't be sexist. Should be a 9. Cheers, John. Bruce Cleaver. Person you bought the pie from. Oh, Ari, the person you bought the pie from, asked Mrs. Mechanic, Ari the bloke. Okay, I think we've covered that, but thank you for the comment. I think you're all along the same lines there. Tom James, bad pie. Not a good pie. I'm confident we're going to come across worse pies than that. Well, we already have one, but I think we're going to get some pies scoring sub 50, which is atrocious, really. But we'll see. You know, as I drive around, I'm more conscious now, looking for different brands of pies, obviously for the live stream. And there's a lot of different brands in New Zealand. There's so many to go at. This could be a real ongoing saga, a mission. A mission it is to seek out the best and worst pies in New Zealand. Pretty cool. The One Civil Man. So sorry, Andy, about not being able to attend your live streams lately. I've been really busy with tests lately. Oh dear, that sounds bad. Well, That's okay. We all have exams and tests to do, and the important thing is that you focus on getting a good score, because that's just the way the world works these days. You're all about a number. It's quite sad, really. George Bonnie 90. Hello, everybody. Well, good morning, George. Defender. Kubota Mint. Yes, I thought so too. Right, I've caught up with the comments. I've got me fresh coffee. Thank you, Mrs. Mechanic. Oh, we'll get rid of the cold one. That's one of the problems with this bench, actually, is bits of pie everywhere. Because it's quite thick steel, and the top must be... On this one's only about I would say, 5 mil is this top. It's quite bouncy, this bench, actually, because it's big. But the other ones are real thick, and they hold a lot of the... Well, they get very cold in the night time, and they stay cold for a long time, and they draw the heat away from my coffee, so I've got to remember to put it on a bit of cardboard, but I don't. So, with the tractor, going back to the tractor again, Mark was extremely generous, didn't just give me an official bona fide Kubota cap with, may I add, central motors stitched into the side. Very, very professional. I do like that. One thing he does need, though, is he needs some. He needs some sort of key rings, because it's on like a little white tag, which is a bit crap. A nice leather fob key ring with central motors on it would be the icing on the cake, Mark. But Mark also gave me a brand new grease gun. Look at this. He gave me a Groz grease gun, which is a pretty good one. I think I already have one of these somewhere, and I use it quite a bit. I do like it because it's the single. It's got the trigger there, like you see, so you can actually just do it one-handed, which is great. You know, rather than those other ones with the big lever on them, you've got to use two hands, which is a bit of a pain, because sometimes you've got to hold the nipple piece, the contacting, whatever you want to call it, union, onto the nipple, whilst you start the grease gun up to get the pressure build up to get it to lock on. You know how to use grease guns. Sometimes they can be a real pain to get started. Now, Mark also gave me, much to my surprise, says, I'm going to give you some grease. And he gave me this heavy duty Castrol grease, and that's the type of grease, which is a Sferol SBX2. He says, that's the grease I want you to use on your new tractor. And he says, you've got to go around and grease all the pivots on a regular basis. So I will. And now I've got the grease. So thank you, Mark, for the grease and the grease gun. I have no excuse but to grease the pins now. Now we also got a spare key just down there. Look, exactly the same as the first key. A couple of free zip ties and an operator's manual. My cigarette's gone out. What the hell? Right, so the operator's manual, which I think is pretty cool, because let's face it, I am a novice when it comes to driving tractors. Well, more than a novice. I had all on just getting it off the trailer. It took me a while to get it off the trailer. I was very, very cautious. But we get... See, it looks a lot smaller without all the bits bolted to it. Maybe I should have bought that home and then taken it back for the extra bits to go on. And then the Mrs. Mechanic wouldn't have thought it would be quite so big. But anyway, operator's manual. Pretty comprehensive, actually. Tells you all about the dash and how to sit and put your seatbelt on. And so, yeah, maybe this needs to sit just by the side of the throne, and then I can do some reading whilst I'm evacuating. Right. We also get a front loader manual. Look at that. It's pretty cool. So I've got that. I wonder if there's a backhoe manual as well then. There is! Look at that! You get a manual for the backhoe as well. How cool is that? That's proper stuff. Hey, I think maybe the next Andy Mechanic mug, if I get round to it, that could be the image, couldn't it? Look at that. A nice pen drawing there. Black and white drawing of the Kubota. Maybe that could just make its way onto my next mug. Yes, I think so. I'll find one, something similar anyway, if not that one. And then there's some more in here, actually. What's this? Oh, and I get a manual on the 4-in-1 bucket as well. Because they're all genuine Kubota stuff. That's brilliant. I've got manuals on everything. I've got manuals to read for a very long period of time. So thank you, Mark. I think it's very important that you get manuals and stuff, and it's also extremely important that you read them. Because often, I mean, as many of you know, I deal with warranty as part of my job. I won't say for what particular brand, but some of you already know. And often it's not covered under warranty. The failure is down to either misuse or poor servicing or whatever. And the customers, sometimes they come back and say, well, I didn't know. That's what's in the owner's manual. All you have to do is read the owner's manual. If you read the owner's manual, then you know not to do that, or to do that, depending on what it is, to look after your machine. And they get very upset, but you've got the information. All you have to do is read it. Don't just jump in and start using it. Oh, that's a good coffee. Right, Pete, you need a hot plate to keep your cup warm. That's a good idea. John Dwyer, are you under sealing the Kubota? You should do. Oh, I don't know. It'd make a bit of a mess of it, won't it, if I underseal that? I don't think it needs undersealing. It's not going to go. Oh my word! You see my ponytail then? That's just mental, isn't it? Look at that. I have noticed my hair's getting quite a lot lighter now. That's the sunlight, I think, in New Zealand. It bleaches your hair. No, I mean, it's just going to be used around the garden. It's not a particularly harsh working environment. It's not like it's on the beach or it's, on a farm where there's lots of effluent that corrodes things really quickly. I think it'll be just fine. I think by undersealing it's going to cause quite a few problems when I come to work on it and things as well. So John, no, it's not going to get undersealed, I don't think. Not this. It's not on the cards at the moment. I will monitor things as we go along though. Now then, KR Moto, I will be careful eating any more of that. You might come up with a bad case of diarrhea. Don't want that. I won't be having any more of those pies. I would not buy another one, that's for sure. The one Silverman, what do you recommend for grease and grease gun for a UTV vehicle? Because I need one for mine. Very good question. Normally just your lithium soap-based grease is fine for all your pivot points and stuff. It's cheap, it's easy to get hold of. If you're going to be washing your vehicle with a hot pressure washer, or water blaster they call it here in New Zealand, to get into all those really nitty-gritty places, then you could go for a more tacky grease, one that's more resilient to water. I believe you can get marine greases that are good for that. And you can also, I used to use, on some of our ATVs in England, we used to use a fifth wheel grease, believe it or not, off the trucks. Where the trailers connect to the tractor unit, they've got a big plate and a pin. Well, that's a really good grease because it doesn't go anywhere. It tends to stick like shit to a blanket, basically. And we found it may not have quite so good lubrication properties, but it tends to stay in place better. The ultimate, actually, I'll go and get it. Hang on. I'll go and get it. Hang on. Bear with me. Product placement. Going under the bucket. All right. Oh, still alive. It's all right. I'm still alive now. Believe it or not, on motocross bikes and stuff, with the Pro Link suspension at the back, with the dog bone and all the various needle roller bearings and stuff, I tend to use, and it wasn't this brand, I came across an aluminium paste. It's not a grease as such, but it is a lubricant and it is fine for those sort of things. And it's a lot better than copper paste. If you get it on your hands or your clothes, it just migrates absolutely everywhere, and which is bad, obviously, but it tends to stay where you put it. So Jared at Forge gave me this stuff, which is the S424 aluminium paste. It's in a really good little dispenser can. It's got a brush on the end, and I use it all the time now on the ROVs when I'm doing the calipers and bits and pieces, and a few other things. So there are different greases out there. What the manufacturer will tell you to use will be no doubt a lithium soap-based grease, but depending on the working environment, you can deviate from that and use a grease that basically stays put a lot better. This isn't a grease though. This won't go in your grease gun, so you end up having to build those, strip down the assembly and apply that manually rather than through the grease nipple. Although maybe you could rig something up. You could probably get it that isn't in an aerosol can. The one that I used in England, I don't know the brand, I can't remember now, it was like 25 years ago. But it was in a tube. So again, you could probably empty the contents of the tube and stick it in your grease gun. That would probably work. But it's actually quite expensive, that's the only thing. In fact, that stuff's very expensive. But normally you don't use a lot. I mean, that can will probably last me a year doing what I'm doing. Now, hopefully that's answered your question there, one Silverman. Gary Fergo. Happening, Andy? It's always happening down here. Now then, Roger, your message is held for review. Oh, God. I can show that. I can show that because we're talking about tractors. Roger says, new channel, Andy and his hoe. Backhoe. Thanks, Roger. I was waiting for that. Somebody had to bring that up, didn't they? Yes. Tom James. Fifth wheel grease never comes off. You might as well throw your clothes away if you get it on them. Well, there's a good warning for you. Although it is testament that it does stick like shit to a blanket. Yes, it goes everywhere. Right. Coffee. So what's coming up next week? Well, next week I'm on the road. I've got today to do some more work on these ROVs. I don't have to get them finished today because I can't get them back to Auckland anyway until a week on Monday, a week tomorrow. So which means I've also got next weekend to finish them off. So I'm not panicking. I've got some preload spaces for the rear springs to fit to one of them. And I've also got, actually, I'll show you. They're over here. Something else to show you. Geez, there's loads of stuff to do today. Turning you around. Right, here we go. So I can't tell you the manufacturer or the model, but there's a good friend of mine, not too far from here, has these made up, and they're just like a hard but semi-flexible plastic, and these are radiator guards for a particular model. It has a 700 single-cylinder four-stroke engine with a single cam in it. And these two fit either side of the radiator, basically like a inner wheel arch type arrangement. This is all clearance for your steering geometry and bits and pieces. You get one for each side, and they just zip tie in place. And this one goes underneath the radiator to stop any mud flying up from underneath. Biggest problem on this particular model is when you're in lock, the mud from the front tires, if they're spinning, will flick off onto the inside of the radiator. Not the front of it, but the inside of it, where the fan is, which causes problems. So the customers asked for a set of these to be fitted as well. So there you go. They're actually really, really good. Lots and lots of these kits get fitted to that particular model around New Zealand, and they make a hell of a difference. We get a lot less complaints of, or we get there's a lot less overheat situations on units that have these fitted to them. Very good. And Jim K, if you're still watching, if you want the cut file for those, let me know. I can probably get it, because it's not really, because it's a whole different country. I'm sure that my friend will be able to email that to me and I can forward it to you. Jim, did you get the cut file for that brace that I designed as well? Just want to make sure you've got that, because that might be useful to some of the owners of that particular model in the US. Right, last cigarette. We are on, how long are we going? Hour and 28, so we're not far off finishing off for today, because I have got stuff to do. John Nuttall, Mark says you need to go back to pick up your touch-up paint pen and leaf blower to try it to dry it off if it rains on it. Well, it is going to get rained on, unfortunately. When there's no ROVs under the carport, then it'll live under the carport, but unfortunately it's going to have to live just down the garden for now, which is a bit of a shame. There's no way I can keep putting it in and out of the workshop all the time, and also it takes up ridiculous amount of space, so I wouldn't be able to get half the motorbikes in here, and I can't leave those out in the garden, that's for sure. So next week, yes, next week I am on the road. I'm away from home until the Friday night. I am going to Otrahanga on the Monday, and then in the morning, and then driving to New Plymouth in the afternoon, and then whatever time's remaining, because it's quite a long trek, I'll be doing admin work Monday afternoon. Monday night, I've got the first of 2 videos that I made last weekend to edit up. I've not had time to do them this week, unfortunately, too busy. So I'll edit the first one up that night. Hopefully I'll get it all done in one evening. If not, it'll bleed into the next evening. But by the end of that week, you should have 2 new videos on the channel. One is a very short video. It just covers those lights that I was sent. But the other one is some more work on Holly's bike, which needs to get done. So I thought, well, it's all part of the series. I need to include what I'm doing on the bike on a video, so you'll get that video. Tuesday, I've got to go and see a motorcycle shop in New Plymouth and another one in Stratford, I think it's called, Stratford. And then back to New Plymouth on the Tuesday night. So I'm in New Plymouth for 2 nights. And then to Huera, I think you pronounce it, on the coast. Bike shop to go and see there. And then another one in Wanganui. So Wanganui does good pies. So we might be able to do a pie review in Wanganui. And then to Palmerston North. And then to Carterton. That's right. Another motorcycle shop in Carterton to go and see. So I'm staying in Wanganui that night, and then, like I say, on to Palmerston North, Carterton, staying in Wellington on the Thursday night, and then on the Friday, Upper Hutt, got a dealer to go and see there, and then the long drive home. And it is a fair trek from basically Wellington back to home again. It's a few hours drive. So maybe a live stream. Yeah, I saw that on one of the comments. Possibly Pete. We'll have to wait and see. It might just be a video, which I'll edit up. I'll see how the internet is in that particular area. Roger, charge out rate for you and your digger might pay for itself. Yeah, but it's time. It's all time, Roger. This is the problem. I don't have the time to go and do jobs like that. The insurance that I organised for it wasn't for contracting work, which would have been more expensive as well, by the way. It's just for normal domestic use at this point in time. But I can change it at any point should I decide to go down that route. But I'd also then need to get insurance in case I damage something on the property wherever I'm doing the job. So it becomes quite a lot more complex if I go down that route. It's not something, I'd never envisioned myself being a contractor with a digger. And it wasn't the reason why I bought it. So we'll see how things pan out. I don't know yet. It's unlikely that I'll do that kind of thing. It's not where my skill set lies. I enjoy being in my workshop. I enjoy making videos for you guys. Jim Haynes. I would cover up the seat and instrument panel areas as the sun and weather do age the plastic parts. They do in New Zealand. They absolutely do. Over here, it bleaches plastic. It makes it go brittle very quickly, and because of the heat cycles, you can get moisture in the dash as well. Which is it a warranty thing? Probably is, but I'd rather not have problems with it. So you are right. I have got a tarpaulin, maybe a tarp just over that area would be a good idea, actually. Good call. Yeah, lots of things to think about with owning this digger. Well, I say owning it, the bank owns it, but I'm paying them off. That's just the way it works. The One Civil Man, do you know the best way to get black sand off a vehicle? Well, a lot of the surf club ROVs that I service operate on the west coast of the North Island, around the Auckland area, Piha, Bethel's, around that area, and they operate on black sand. It comes off usually on its own. It just dries out and falls off. It just drops down, through the holes in the chassis, on the chassis plates. It just falls out. When they come in, they're not overly covered in sand. when we have had to wash them off, when we were undersealing them, once they'd already, they're already a used vehicle, then we used to just use the pressure washer, take the floor out and just pressure wash the whole thing off. That's the only way I can do it, to be honest. Yeah, that's just a good pressure washer, really. Oh, hang on. Ian Edwards, they must pay you well. I wouldn't do your job unless I was paid very well. Worse than truck driving. It isn't just about the money, to be honest. I really enjoy the challenge of the job that I have at the moment. I've had it for about 4.5 years. Every day is different. Yes, there's a lot of driving involved. There's a lot of challenges. There's a lot going on all the time. There's a lot of. I'm spinning a lot of plates. Sometimes the odd plate does drop. Unfortunately, that's just the way life is. But you do your very best. And the diagnostic side of it, I really enjoy. Working out what the problems are, and it's not always the case of chucking a scope on something. It's not always a case of using a diagnostic tool. Sometimes it's just about thinking about how the vehicle's built, what systems it's got on there, and most importantly, is talking to the customer and in some cases analysing their use. We had a problem with an ROV not too long ago. A customer complained of a misfire, constantly misfiring. It was, I say constantly, it was a fault that wasn't always there. It was an intermittent fault. But the customer said to me one morning, I'd already delivered the vehicle back. We'd replaced the ignition coils on it because I was tracking on one of the plug caps, and they're a coil over coil that sits on top of the spark plug, so you've got to replace the whole thing. There was tracking in one of them, and there was dirt in one of them as well. Took it back. Guy rang me after the weekend, still doing it. I'm like, seriously? I said, look, we've drove that vehicle all weekend. It was tested extensively. Couldn't get it to fault. What have you done with the vehicle since I delivered it back? And he said, well, I just brimmed the tank. I went out to the petrol station and filled it up. And I said, you brimmed the tank? He says, yeah, I always fill it full. Okay. Well, that particular model has a charcoal canister. Bingo. You're overfilling the fuel tank. Well, I'm just filling it to the top. I says, yeah, but you're supposed to only put 35 litres in max, not fill it to the absolute brim. I says, once you put the cap back on and you start driving the machine and the sunlight comes out and the whole thing starts to warm up, that fuel is going to warm up and it's going to expand. And as it expands, the only place it can go is down the pipe that's meant for fumes, not liquid, and it'll end up in the charcoal canister, and it's going to overwhelm the charcoal canister and fill it with neat fuel. And then when the ECU purges the charcoal canister, whenever that happens, you're going to basically, the engine's going to run ridiculously rich with that neat fuel going straight into the intake manifold, which is where it purges it to burn off the vapors. But in this case, it's liquid. Hence, you misfire. So I said, look, just run your tank at 3/4 full maximum. Tell me if it happens again. Didn't happen again. It's fixed. So sometimes you've just got to think and talk to your customer and really analyze what they're using the machine for, and what they do with it. And it was just something as simple as that. I could have saved myself so much time and effort if I'd just asked the right questions. But there are so many questions to ask. And at the time of the initial diagnostic, I wasn't aware that machine had a charcoal canister. It was only through further research that I then familiarized myself with that particular model. So diagnostics, they're fun, they're challenging, and it's actually very rewarding to go, I know why it does that, and we can stop it happening. And it is the first ROV of that brand that's come out with a charcoal canister. So, it's new stuff. Roger Heaps, cash. I know, Roger, it's cash. I know it is. John Dwyer, make a tent using a tarp to A, protect from the weather, and B, from thieves. Good idea. Santos S. Montanez. I'm trying to plug my wall AC to my car, but the plug is made for home wall plug. How can I convert it to work? Huh? Plug my wall AC to my car. You've got me there. Why are you trying to plug your mains electric into your car? Are we talking it's an electric car and you're trying to charge it up? Not too familiar with electric cars, but I think you need the proper charger for it. Ian Edwards, the fault solving is a real buzz. It is. It's the fun part. The most interesting part of my job is what we call field research. When we've maybe, there's a new design of something, or if a new model has gone to market and a particular group of customers, customer type, or an area in New Zealand that's experiencing a particular issue, which may not be a manufacturing issue, it might be a usage issue, but you've got to go down there onto the farms, interview the farmers, go around where they use the machine. I always GoPro the whole activity, the whole trip around the farm to capture the working environment for the factory, and to really analyze what's really going on. What's the problem? Do we need to modify the vehicle to make it suitable for your working environment? Is it our responsibility? Is it a suggestion we can make to the farmer or to the owner, operator of the vehicle? Or is it a genuine issue that we need to go back to the factory and say, hey, actually, this isn't working. We need to come up with a plan. Those kind of activities, you're on a mission. They're really interesting, and I get to fly all over New Zealand or drive all over New Zealand to do that kind of research. And the customers themselves really, they're very grateful that you're listening to their problem. And the fact that somebody turns up and spends time with them to solve the problem is invaluable. And I'll say this now, not all brands do that. The company that I work for, we take it very, very seriously that our machines, fulfill the role for all customers. So yes, it's a very varied job. It gets me out and about. Yes, I do a lot of driving, but I'm quite happy to put the hours in because I enjoy the role. And I work with a fantastic team, really, really good team that there's no silos. I work alongside sales. I work alongside parts. I feed lots of information back to the factory, and it's great. It's a challenge. And if all goes to plan, then you never quite know what's around the corner. But I anticipate this to be my last job. I will work for them until either they don't want me anymore, or I get too old to do it, or I decide, hey, it's time to retire and do my own thing. I'm not looking at all. I don't even contemplate looking for other jobs. It's fun. And if you can do something as a job that's fun and challenging and keeps your brain thinking, then, and you're paid well, and I am paid relatively well for the job. There's a lot of perks. And like I say, I'm working with a great team, and you don't always get that. Now then, Ian Edwards, yes. John Nuttall, hit the like button. Thank you, John. I always forget. So hit the like button, people. We've got 33 likes and 21 viewers. Now then, Tom James, I think he's talking aircon. Oh, really? Pete Santos needs an inverter, probably. Roger Heaps, really big inverter. Tom James, what wattage? Okay, well, I can leave you guys to discuss that, I think. It's something that is way outside my remit. Simon Rawle, you're still live. I know, I am still alive, and I'm still live. Right. And Simon, you're back. You're back from the pub. You survived. Well done, Simon. Good job. Ian Edwards, one perk, a good variety of pies. Absolutely. Yeah, get to see a lot of the New Zealand countryside and get to go onto farms and into places which the general public don't normally have access, obviously, and get to see some really wonderful parts of New Zealand. Some pretty adverse weather conditions and the aftermaths of natural disasters as well. You get to be in all sorts of weird places, and sometimes especially if I'm flying somewhere, actually and driving as well. Your plans sometimes have to change. I've gone to some places, and all of a sudden, I can't get home. The ferries have all stopped, and it's just what can you do? You know, you think, well, shall I go and see another dealer? Shall I go and do this? Shall I just stay in the hotel and do admin work? You know, it's my schedule has to remain fluid. Things come along that are more important than the things that I've already got scheduled, and it all has to change. And I have a very, very accommodating wife, if she still recognizes me. She's amazing. She really is. So, Mrs. Mechanic, thank you very much for putting up with me. I know I'm not the greatest husband, and even when I'm here, and I have many faults, but I've got to say it live. I do love her very much. So there you go, Mrs. Mechanic. Oh, geez, how do we get onto that? Anyway, right. Simon, what was the pie rating tonight? Oh, well, Simon, the pie rating was pretty poor. Let's go and do a quick recap for Simon. Here we go. Little wander around the workshop again. Here we go. Right. Oh, God, my back's killing me today. Right. So, Simon, it was the Maketu Pie steak and cheese, and it got 75. A very sad 75, but still not quite as bad as the Big Ben steak, cheese, and bacon double XL. There you go, look, that's an overview of all the scores. Still the Wild Bean Cafe Gourmet Steak and Cheese is at number 1, but that I'm sure will get pipped when I get back down to the South Island. There's some really good pies down there. Good job, people. Right, I think it's about time to sign off. Say goodbye to the tractor for now. Jeez, I need a bigger workshop, I really do. Only just fits in. Okay, crew. Well, if you wanna support the channel, and many of you do already, just with your comments and bits and pieces, but don't forget you can drop onto Patreon or PayPal and send through a donation if you like, or you can send stuff through the post. The PO box is down in the description. If none of that, then again, there's other options. You can just share a particular video on your social media, and we can get a few more subscribers to the channel. They can get exposed to all the many videos that are on the channel now. There's so many of them. Lots of live streams, obviously, but there's still a huge content of pre-recorded videos on there. Okay, crew, I really run out of beans here. Probably Simon, probably run out of beans. I do have beans on toast every now and again, and Mrs. Mechanic does serve me the beans that you sent me. I do appreciate it. In fact, I think we have run out of beans, the ones that you sent, because I did buy some beans, English version, obviously, from the supermarket when we were shopping there last. I remember buying them. Okay, well, that's it. Who else have we got? Tom James, ta-ta, Andy. Cheers, Tom. John Dwyer, Andy, don't wear that hat to work tomorrow. You'll be fired on the spot. Yes, I have a very different cap to wear. In fact, I don't always wear a cap at work, to be honest, because I am told that if you wear caps too often, it can cause your hair to thin. I had an employee, Neil, lived at Helmsley, top bloke. He was always wearing caps, and he lost his hair very early in life. Poor lad. So anyway, I don't wear a cap most days. Okay, crew. Well, until next time, thank you very much for joining me today on today's live stream and for celebrating the purchase of the new garden shovel, toy, implement, tools for the garden, should I say. And next Sunday, I will see you 8:30 a.m. on the Sunday morning. New Zealand time, don't forget. Enjoy your week. Be safe. Have fun. Do stuff that you enjoy. I'll see you next time. Cheers. Over and out.